here. Like when we hire people into our industry, they're not going to be there forever. If we flipped this equation on its head and said, what can we do in the short time when we have these people to maximize their experience and their engagement and our outcomes, you know, it could be a very interesting conversation. But I do agree. I think it is all about engagement and not necessarily about turnover.
Sure.
I like to say that turnover is the end of the story, right? Yeah. It's your lagging indicator. It's what happens after the fact. Mm-hmm. And so I think it's important to measure the leading indicator, which is engagement.
Sure. I want to take advantage of the size of your organizations and just sort of understand if you had to provide advice for maybe a smaller or emerging company who really wants to start focusing on this because we've proven that there is return here. What would your piece of advice be to a smaller organization that wants to start really focusing on its people strategies? We'll start with you.
I mean, I'll start with where I started, which was the idea of being very purposeful, being very intentional when you're talking about your marketing and your messaging and including guests and team members together at the forefront of that. And so I think that's just, it's not something that we typically think about it in that way, but really making sure it's not just about how they're going to execute it and it's more about how they're going to embrace it and really how they're going to enhance the experience through that work. So I think it's just kind of starting with them right there at the forefront.
Okay, Kelly?
I would say assess and prioritize. Understand where you are at in terms of what's working in your enterprise, what's not working. You have to have the right people in the right roles first. And so once you have that, then you can look at that full life cycle of your people strategy and decide what to do next. But you can't do it all at once, so you've got to prioritize.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sarah?
I would hate for this panel to end without some kind of requisite sports analogy, so I'm gonna supply that one. I think I'm gonna build on what you said. It's really about focus, and we have to do our best not to overwhelm the people that we hire. And so, I took golf lessons once, and they told me the 14 things I needed to do in order to swing the club and hit the ball, which I did none of. I do happen to live in Colorado and be a skier, and if you know how to pizza and French fry, you can get down the mountain. That's 2 things you have to remember instead of 14. So I think the more we can do to focus people, the better outcomes we'll have.